Hello, my friends. Welcome to Weekly Strides, your Wednesday update post where I will be answering one of your questions that you have either emailed to me, that has been asked in Running for Real Superstars, that has been asked on various other places that you have wondered. I decided to take your questions and begin to answer them so that you could have my real, raw, rambling answer rather than, most places that we go, it tends to be a very sterile, very factual, but there's just not really any emotion in it. So this is my way of allowing you to submit your questions, get a real answer to it. Future episodes of Weekly Strides, we will be featuring listeners. So if you want to be considered for that, please let us know. And we will also be bringing on previous guests to check in with how they are. If you have a question you would like to submit, you can email kat@runningforreal.com. That's KAT@runningforreal.com. And I look forward to answering your questions soon. Let's get to it. What kinds of gym strength training workouts should I do to support my running? I wish there was a simple answer to this one, but as always, there's not. It's just too complicated to be able to give you any answer at all. And you're probably not going to like what I have to say, but here's what I have to say. The first thing I would say is get a strength coach. Yes, it can be expensive. Yes, it can be hard to find. If it is at all possible, that is the number one thing I would say, because they are going to be the person who knows, who's going to be able to see your weaknesses. And I know it's the last thing you hoped I would come out with. And as much as some running publications might try and tell you that there's 8 exercises you can do that are going to support your running, keep you healthy, the reality is for most of us, that's just not the case if we want to stay healthy and run to our best. But wait. Before you exit out, before you say, I'm not listening to this anymore, let me explain myself a bit more. I know finding a strength coach can be just one more financial investment that you may or may not be even possible or willing to spend, let alone how overwhelming it can be to find someone who will be good at it. It also requires potentially a gym membership, finding time to go to the gym that you don't have the time or resources for. I get it. I really do. But here's the thing. I struggle with finding that too, or making the time for it. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. This could get me in trouble with the running community, but I'm going to share it anyway. Before I do, if you are someone who's been struggling with injuries, if you're a masters runner or you have a goal that is really important to you, there's no way around it. You need either a strength coach or someone to advise you, someone who's going to show you how to do exercises correctly. Watch you to make sure your technique, your form is correct. With strength training, your form is everything. However, if you are like me right now and running is important to you, but you're kind of willing to take the risk or walk the line of injury to make sure, because you can't find that time for strength training, you might be okay. But I want to make sure that you have weighed your options. By not doing strength training correctly, you are putting yourself at risk of injury. I know that I'm doing that right now. And if you're okay with that, doing them incorrectly or doing lots of little exercises might not injure you, but it probably won't help you either. We don't want to develop bad movement habits when our goal is to become better movers or runners. If time is something in short supply for you in your life, as it is for me, doing a longer dynamic warm-up is one way to focus on technique in a controlled manner. Now, we are going to be putting out some videos very soon about what that could look like. I do have some from maybe 2014 that I will put links to in the show notes on YouTube. No laughing at the absolute amateur, it was probably even 2012. Video quality, terrible, but it will help you with that technique side of things. I will put links in that for the time being. And then for those who are in the stage of needing someone, if you've had those recent injuries, if you're a masters runner, you know you need it, or you have a big goal, there are a few little things I have to add that will help you know what strength coach to find and use. The biggest thing I would say is talking to other runners in your city. That can be helpful to find a qualified trainer. Additionally, when you search for trainers close to where you live and contact them for a conversation or a free consultation if they offer that, that can be helpful. And lastly, I find chiropractors, physical therapists have great referrals. If you are a woman and you've recently been to an OB or a gynecologist, they often have good recommendations too, particularly if it's pelvic floor health that you need support with, and not just women need support with that, may I just add. Now, my hack is I like to ask trainers their thoughts on core exercises, like literally tell me your thought about what core exercises do you do? If they start to talk to you about sit-ups or crunches or anything of that manner, that is a huge red flag to stay away from. Your core is actually the full trunk of your body that involves multiple groups working together as one, not just what we think of as those, 6-pack, 8-pack, 2-pack, 1-pack, whatever we have. So a plank is an example of an exercise that brings together all those muscles together. If you think about it, it's got you're working your entire body to hold that movement. And if someone does a plank, there's still many ways to do it incorrectly. You want to make sure it is totally a flat board. You want to make sure that when they're training someone, they are not telling them to hold it for 3 minutes or even a minute to start with. You want to make sure that your coach recognizes when their form is starting to go, when their butt is starting to go in the air or go down, and then they cut it when that happens and either have them reset or they go into another exercise. Another 4 primary exercises that my coach, Drew Watts, who you may have heard me talking about in the past, who helped me to achieve a lot of my goals when I was running at my peak, he recommended as a starting point split squats, glute bridges, push-ups, and rows. So if you want to find someone who incorporates those exercises, that's a good place to start. Also, potentially a good place to start for you if you just wanted to do it yourself. I understand this answer is a little bit complicated. It really is best to start with adding to your warm-up or your post-run exercises. From there, you can find a coach for a few sessions to find out where your weaknesses are, or you can add in more strength training if you're enjoying working with a coach. Because actually, when I was working with a coach, I loved going to Drew twice a week to work out. Once you get into it and you start to see improvements, you will find that you do make the time. You do find the time. And you even enjoy that break from the monotony of running. So don't write it off, give it a chance, and make sure that you are not adding it in during these peak running build-ups. So you don't want to be adding it in with 6 or 8 weeks to go before your big race. Choose when you start doing this selectively. Hope that's helpful. Maybe not as helpful as you wanted or hoped it would be, but there are my thoughts. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Weekly Strides. I appreciate you sending in your questions. I hope you enjoyed that answer. We will have another one of these next Wednesday. Be sure to check out regular episodes of the podcast on Friday and Together Runs on Monday. I'll see you then.